Welcome to GR Giving Day Podcast. I'm excited to have all these guests on. In fact, I think this is the largest crew here. We've had 5 people total, including myself. Super excited. So if we wouldn't mind going around the room, I would love to have you guys introduce yourself of like, what's your name? Where are you from? And then we can kind of kick off the conversation that way. So why don't we start right here?
Good. I'll go first. Okay. My name is Tammy Campbell, and I'm the director of Ellie's Place, West Michigan. We are a healing center for grieving kiddos, and our office is on Michigan Street here in Grand Rapids.
Awesome.
I work with Tammy closely. My name is Kristy. I'm the events and outreach coordinator at Ellie's Place, West Michigan. We are one of 3 branches. We're the smallest little branch serving the second largest city in Grand Rapids, or in Michigan. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Minnie Morey. I'm the executive director for the West Michigan Asian American Association. We are the connection to various or diverse Asian groups in West Michigan and addressing the needs of their, in the area of healthcare, civic engagement, and education.
Awesome.
And I'm Jessica Johns. I'm the co-founder and executive director of Storehouse of Community Resources. We're located on Plainfield, and we're 8 years old and happy to be here.
Very cool. Well, I would love to hear a little bit more about you guys as nonprofits and maybe a story or two, but let's just start with high level of what's your mission? What are you looking to do in your nonprofit, and what change are you looking to bring?
Okay. So Ellie's Place is a healing center for grieving kiddos and teens. We service 3 to 18 years, and our model is based on a peer-to-peer support system. So 3 and 4-year-olds are interfacing and working through their grief with other 3 and 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. And it's based on that peer-to-peer support model. And grief is not something that we want to talk about as adults, but kiddos, young, 3 to 18, they don't even know how to begin to process that. And we're here to help them do that. So it's a really necessary service that we provide, but sometimes you don't think to ask for that help when you're deep in that grief. Especially as a parent or care provider, you are just trying to get through the day yourself often, but your kids are also hurting and grieving. And so we are a free service.
How did you guys get started? Like, is there a story behind starting something like this?
Yeah. Do you want to take that, Kristy?
Sure. Would love to. So back in 1991, no, it's not that long of a podcast. No, but Ellie's Place was started by Betsy and Woody Stover in Lansing, and they that is Ellie's Place Capital Region, which has been there since 1991, and they actually had tragically lost their youngest child, Ellie, and it's spelled E-L-E. A lot of people don't know that it's actually pronounced Ellie, so I just like to, tell people that. And the reason it's Ellie is because her name was Helen, so it's like the middle of Helen. Yeah, so a sweet story. But she tragically died at 11 months old, and she happened to have 3 older siblings. And Woody and Betsy really noticed that their kids were struggling and really there weren't a lot of resources to help them. They were grieving as well, obviously. So they started Ellie's Place in the basement of a church, believe it or not, very small, and it has grown so much and touched so many lives in Michigan, and just really getting that support for kids that you can't really find elsewhere. So it's different than therapy. We love therapy, big lovers of therapy, but we're definitely different than that. Our main goal is to connect kids with other kids their own age that are kind of processing all those really big, complicated, tough feelings together and in the same way. We have a huge curriculum of activities that are all grief related. Kids really, a big way that kids grieve is through play, like little kids. And so we have this really great curriculum that our social workers put together for kiddos. And yeah, so that's kind of the story of where it started. Ann Arbor branch began, I think, around 2000, I hate to even guess, 2013 maybe. Yeah, and then Grand Rapids, the West Michigan branch, because we don't just serve Grand Rapids, we really serve all of West Michigan, started in 2013. So last year we celebrated 10 years, which is awesome. Yeah, so that's kind of the story of Ellie's Place.
So needed. I mean, I can't imagine when there's something that is really horrible that happens, a lot of times we push it down, right? We just don't
Right.
talk about it. And so it's probably the best thing for those kids to be able to have talking with other kids about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's just part of like our culture. I mean, think about our own experiences with death, and like it's so common to just like push it down, and like you can be sad, but it's like, can you really feel those feelings and talk about it with other people? Sometimes you can't. And so we're really trying to make it okay and make it, I mean, grief is really natural and normal, unfortunately. And we're really trying to break that stereotype and that taboo of talking about death, and kind of, we're all in this together is we're, you know, so.
Yeah, death is very stigmatizing and isolating, and you just feel alone and you don't want to talk about it. And it really is transformational when you see a kiddo that comes in or a teen that comes in and they may be quiet and just really kind of deep in their thoughts. But when they learn to connect and process through that grief with coping skills and mechanisms that we provide during our groups, it's transformational. And we also see just those lifelong bonds that are formed. And really how Ellie's Place came to West Michigan is we had a group of families that were traveling, had experienced a loss. They knew their kiddos needed support and help. And they knew that there was that need in West Michigan. And so they kind of rallied together to say, you know what? West Michigan needs the same kind of services. They were traveling to Lansing, Capital Region, every day, every week to get those services. And they rallied, and we found support and funding in our community. West Michigan is an amazing philanthropic giving community, and that allowed us to open our doors.
That's great. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Minnie, I would love to hear a little bit more about West Michigan Asian American Association.
Well, our organization has a patient navigator system with bilingual interpreters who help me get connected to all those various languages that we have to deal with. And our largest focus is on access to health care. We assist individuals and families to enroll for insurance, marketplace, Medicaid, Medicare, and also connecting them to resources that address their needs, especially breaking the barriers of transportation and language, because many of our Asian communities still have limited English proficiency. So we try to also address that part with ESL classes, and especially for the elderly, they've never had any formal education before coming here to the United States. And, many of them have been in the refugee camps for maybe 15 to 20 years before they even get here. So there's a lot of, getting them to acclimate them to the American way of life, understanding the way the systems work here, especially the healthcare systems. So we're trying to address also the economic needs, like a lot of them don't have any eligibility for any public assistance or know the resources that they can get connected to, and that's what our neighbor navigators help with that and getting them connected, because there's just so many languages that we have to deal with.
Minnie, I feel like there's a story there. How did you guys end up getting started?
It's been, we first were two different Asian organizations back in 2010. And we were such a small community at that time to have two organizations. So we merged the two organizations to be West Michigan Asian American Association, because we understood that we needed to be a connector, an organization to connect all the Asian groups and to address the bigger problems, like access to healthcare was the biggest at that time. Everybody needs access to healthcare. So that's where we started. And then from there, when you're talking to people about healthcare, then they tell you about other needs that they need, so, and thank goodness we have a lot of partnerships that help us to address not only extending, healthcare programs, but transportation, helping with transportation, helping with like Ready by 5 for children under 5, pregnant women who need support. Just so many needs. So.
Man, that can be scary and intimidating to have like language and cultural barriers coming into somewhere new. That's a worthy cause to help those people navigate that.
Yes, and thank goodness I've got navigators to speak the different languages because I don't speak any of these languages. And so,
What are some of the different languages you guys help with interpret?
well, we help the Nepali, Burmese, Vietnamese, Chinese, Cambodian, Laotian, and every time I turn around and go, I need another interpreter.
Oh my goodness! How did people get connected to your organization? How do they find you?
Well, actually, we do a lot of outreach activities, but our navigators are really our connectors out there. They're in the community, boots on the ground, let's just say, who understand. The interpreters, most of them were refugees at one time too, so they understand their community.
Yeah,
Because there's just so many cultural differences.
Yeah.
There's some similarities, but also differences.
yes, really important.
Yes.
Yes, awesome. Well, why don't we go here?
Yeah, so I'm Jessica Johns. I co-founded the Storehouse 8 years ago, kind of like everybody else was talking about this morning, based around a gap that we saw existed. My background was actually in elementary education, primarily in the state of Indiana, before moving to Michigan for my husband's job. I was volunteering at a food bank, and the director was talking about the need for personal care resources. And so I went looking for that, thinking, how do you go about getting those donated at scale? And it took about 6 years, but I came across a broker who had personal care products. They also had school supplies. And because of my background in teaching, I knew that was something that could be addressed, that we could scale that. So you had to have a 501c3. Didn't even know what that was. So started a nonprofit with a co-founder who had the business background. And now we realize you can really source everything under the sun. So our mission's to decrease poverty and increase prosperity in the state of Michigan by providing these physical, tangible resources to the nonprofits like the ones that are connected to this Giving Day.
That sounds super important. What can you share with us? Maybe a story or two of like how you guys have helped someone in kind of with your nonprofit?
People often ask me, because we have everything from furniture to personal care products, school supplies. I mean, we have lighting. Anything you can possibly imagine gets donated. And people often ask, what's the number one requested? It still comes back to personal care, just because it's a consumable that is difficult to get provided by a government resource. And so we're actively, constantly looking for both those to be donated, but also funding to underwrite our sourcing ability to get those. But just fun stories. We took in a shipment of tie-dye, which seems kind of silly, but we work with a lot of camps throughout the state who were ecstatic to get that. And same camp, we took in a large generator. It was like a $7,000 generator that they paid just a few dollars for, that allows them to stretch their budget and impact more kids. So I get excited for the smallest things. I mean, just getting to see that somebody has a need that, we were able to meet is really impactful to me.
And people don't need a generator to donate to you, right?
Right.
They don't need something that big.
Correct. Yeah. So shampoo is still like deodorant. I mean, we really need, and we take in everything. I think a couple things that set us apart were a new product donation system. So we're not to disparage Goodwill. I love Goodwill. We have a great relationship with them, but we only deal in new goods. So it provides that dignity to the nonprofits who are working with people who, often get the cast-offs of, what the rest of us are done with. We donate, and then, that's not what they want. We want to be able to help provide that dignity that, helps them to live sustainably.
That makes sense. All really cool. So how has, let me ask you about GR Giving Day, and specifically, what do you guys hope that your nonprofit will get out of GR Giving Day? And do you guys have a goal? And what do you want to use if you're able to raise some additional funds? What do you want to use those funds for?
Well, at Ellie's Place, we got involved with GR Giving Day just by chance, actually. I was sitting down to do another interview, and I bumped into Kate and asked her what she did, and she shared, and I said, can we do this? And she's like, absolutely. So here we are today. It's a great initiative that's been started, a much needed kind of collaborative way to share resources and get to know each other better. And at Ellie's Place, we would love to see our organization raise $5,000. With $5,000, we can start a school group to service kiddos. And what I love about the school group is we go in and we partner with the school counselors. We have those highly trained volunteers that go in working with the counselors, and then they pull kiddos out of class that are experiencing a death of a loved one or a sibling. So it's like an extension of our mission, but into the schools. And often it reaches kiddos who maybe don't have the resources or the means to come to our group at Ellie's Place, but they're in school and they're still experiencing those same kind of feelings of loss and isolation. And it also allows them to understand they're not alone at school. I've heard many times, I had a teen gets pulled into a group and didn't know that their school mate also was going through the similar loss and grief. And it takes some of that isolation away from them, because now they have that commonality and that connection with that individual. So that $5,000 goes a long way to help us do that. It would mean the world to us.
Can I add to that? Yeah, we can do so much with $5,000. Huge impact. We're so excited and grateful to be part of this Grand Rapids Giving Day, and that Tammy was able to connect with Erica about all of it. We're so excited. But yeah, as Tammy was saying, we can start a whole new school group at a brand new school. A lot of schools are reaching out to us where they've had a student die or a teacher, or we actually give the school a survey to send out so they can kind of grasp like how many kids need help. And it's so surprising, all of the responses we get. You would never know. And all of a sudden we have this big group that's formed. And so we could also, we have to buy a lot of supplies for our group. It's a weekly service that we provide. And those include art supplies. We do music. We purchase grief games. I mean, there's so many things that we need to provide. We also do snacks for the kids. We tend to try to do healthier snacks. But we do, there's so many things that we could use $5,000 for. Let's do this.
I think it's even going beyond the monetary. It's letting the community know that we're here in West Michigan. Our services are free, but if families don't know about it, they don't know to ask us. So I think this collaborative partnership opens doors, and I'm excited just being here this morning, learning more about these two women sitting next to us, what they do. And now we're aware of the services they provide. So it's joining us all together in that regard as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, the Grand Rapids Giving Days is giving us an opportunity to raise additional funds to address food security. We have many low-income households, and you know that a lot of people are still struggling with meeting funds for groceries, even though many of the households do not get assistance, public assistance for food, because their income is just over that limit. And so our goal is to help raise enough funds to do food distribution, especially now with the holiday season coming up.
Yeah, that's great.
We have two different things we're actively seeking funding for. So this $5,000 will go a long way. One seems not very sexy. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to use that word, but we're trying to buy a forklift because we move a lot of product around and we have a very lean team. So that will help save our, exactly. The other thing we're doing is we've taken in a lot of Scholastic books. So we have over $1 million in Scholastic books that we're trying to distribute to resource deserts throughout Michigan. So there's a lot of pockets of poverty, especially north of Big Rapids, but to physically get it there takes, effort and funds to do so. So yes, we're excited.
That's great. So if we go closing us out, I would love for you guys to say, what is you guys' need? How can people get involved? So maybe mention your website, and then, anything else you want to do to close us out.
I think for Ellie's Place, our biggest need is probably funding right now. People can make donations and contributions. Funding could be monetary, but in kind as well, as Kristy mentioned. We do have a huge need for that. If you go to our website, elliesplace.org, you can donate right on the website, and it would be much appreciated.
ELE, right?
Yes.
ELE.
Ellie. Yes. ELES.
Yeah, it looks like L, but it's Ellie. So great question. Right now, specifically, we do have a need. It happens to be Children's Grief Awareness Month in November. I forgot to mention that, which our mission aligns so closely with. So we really like to observe that all month and celebrate that. Right now, we're actually doing a special campaign for Ellie's Place where we're asking folks to sponsor one day in November. It's a $600 one-time ask. And we've determined that is about how much it takes to fund one child for 1 year with groups at Ellie's Place. So with that one donation, you're making such a difference in the life of a kiddo. And Grieving Day is it's the 21st. So, but like I said, we're celebrating all month. So if you'd like to do that, it's on our website. You can just choose tribute gift. And the cool thing about that donation is it's not just a donation. Once you donate, you also get the chance to, like I said, pick your day. And then we will do a social media post for you on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And you can make that gift in honor of, in memory of someone special that maybe has passed away. Or you can make it just in support of Ellie's Place. But we will make a special post for you on our website and just really highlight that. And grgivingday.com too for December 3rd. The day is really late this year. So it's usually like right after, like in November still.
Yes.
But that special day is December 3rd. So
December 3rd. Cool.
Well, funding is always appreciated, but people can connect with us through social media, Facebook, West Michigan Asian American Association, through our website, wm-aaa.org, and we're also on Instagram. But hopefully that you could connect to with one of our navigators too, who's out there in the community.
Very cool.
We would love to get connected as well. Our website, storehousemi.org. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Facebook. We actually would ask to be connected to product suppliers. Funding, I think we're all going to ask for that. We appreciate Erica and her initiative of starting this here in Grand Rapids. But product suppliers, that's the space that we live in, is how do we get the resources into the communities who are needing this? And so we create that hub that allows those resources to be spread equitably and through the right channels that alleviates the burden on the donor. So we would love to get connected to suppliers and volunteers as well.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys. Really appreciate your time. grgivingday.com, December 3rd. Come support these awesome nonprofits. So thanks again for your time, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.